I am a scientist, and orthodoxies have some strong science behind them. We have learned a lot about how we think in recent years. Advances in cognitive neuroscience as well as behavioral decision-making have turned this field of science upside down. Research has shown that assumptions play a huge role in almost every moment of our lives. Now, we like, and I deliberately stress like, to think that we are logical and rational. And while some of the decisions we make are carried out this way, let's be clear, the great majority are not. We take shortcuts, have biases, and use heuristics. These feed and are fed by a set of assumptions that frame and filter our thoughts. We need to do this. If we didn't rely on our assumptions, we couldn't operate for more than a few seconds. We would be overcome by the enormity of the challenges of putting one foot in front of the other. As cognitive misers, we need subconscious, involuntary assumptions, literally, to allow us to live. This involuntary reliance on assumptions, that is, in most cases outside our rational thought processes, has profound implications. Whether we like it or not, orthodoxies limit our ability to deliver on change. In the majority of cases, we are hijacked by powerful assumptions that operate below consciousness and seduce us into doing what we've always done. In deal-making, we talk a lot about the opportunity. But again, being driven by our orthodoxies or assumptions means that we may miss many of the opportunities that come our way. Literally, a client or customer may be handing us a diamond on a plate and we will not see it because it does not fit with our well-established, tried and trusted formula for what an opportunity should look and feel like. Our inability to challenge our orthodoxies does not lead to a pretty outcome. Someone somewhere will see our business very differently, and some morning we run the risk of waking up and overnight they will have changed the rules of the game. This risk of not seeing what is straight in front of us is very, very real. No organization has a God-given right to exist. In this sense, failure to address our orthodoxies is almost an existential threat. A classic example of this, one that we have used many times on leading Shell deals, is the case of Xerox. For some today, Xerox may seem like a historical footnote, but in the early 1970s, as a company, it was big news. They dominated the market for photocopiers. Xerox was blessed with some pretty far-sighted senior management who were not confident that the future would necessarily be like the past. They tasked a group of scientists to think the unthinkable. They protected them from HQ groupthink by basing this unit many miles away from the Xerox headquarters. That operation, based in Palo Alto, became known as PARC. It produced some of the most far-sighted thinking surrounding technology, something that was way before its time. Xerox, therefore, should own the computer age. But they don't. The marketing guys at Xerox were the ones who called the shots. They had no interest in what they considered to be distractions, because in their mind, they knew how to make money. It was just like the way they always did, producing big mainframe photocopiers that sat in the reprographics department that broke down frequently and could be fixed via a lucrative service contract. That was their model. That was the way they saw their world, and they could not or would not see it differently. But no one told the Japanese. Within a few years, they had all but wiped Xerox away by introducing small desktop photocopiers that broke all the rules. How is this relevant to Shell? Our strategy is underpinned by energy transition and digitization. These forces are potentially hugely disruptive, and they're located within a wider world that is increasingly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. This external world forces us to challenge some fundamental assumptions about ourselves. We have got to where we are today on the back of our supreme technical expertise. We need to continue to deliver on it on a daily basis, but and I would like to put a big but here. Our greatest strength is also potentially our greatest vulnerability and weakness. One of the big orthodoxies that we face, I would suggest, is a belief in the power of rational and logical thinking. We think that others think and act like us, but in an age of tweets and sound bites where the power of an emotional image can undercut years of rational expertise in a millisecond, this can make our analysis redundant in the eyes of stakeholders. We may say they are wrong, but that is no use. They can delay our projects, cut our budgets, and portray us as demons. We need to question some of our basic assumptions underlying how we operate, how we relate, and how we interact. This is not easy. It goes against many other assumptions that are central to our identity as a company. Ideas about the necessity of process or the role of expertise. Fueled by these underlying orthodoxies and assumptions, if we enter into interactions with the strong, unrecognized belief that we know best, how good do you think we will be at truly listening to our customers, clients, or stakeholders? This is a huge challenge for us. So how can we check our orthodoxies and start to use them productively? Please remember that nobody, absolutely nobody, is immune from them. Everybody falls into their traps. So if we can identify our key orthodoxies and make them visible, we can begin to harness them and use them to our competitive advantage. Orthodoxies operate at multiple levels simultaneously, so it's best to start at one level and work your way out from that. Also, it's highly unlikely that a conversation with yourself will be enough here. Best, therefore, that you do this exercise with someone else. I would suggest that you and at least one of your colleagues do it in pairs and pose the simple but probing questions to one another that help to unpack your orthodoxies. Once you started the conversation at one level, expand on it. How about taking an extra 30 minutes at your next team meeting to introduce the concept and capture the views of colleagues? Or start the next meeting with an external client by asking to step back and check the assumptions underpinning one another's positions and perspectives. This may not be easy, but I would be very surprised if this, at the right moment, did not contribute to an enhanced conversation, a much deeper relationship, and gets you closer to doing the business.